Another very sobering message. Okay, voting for the Antichrist could lead to eternity in the lake of fire. Guys, you can see here we have a jar and there's two stones. See how there's a white stone and a black stone? In ancient times, when you voted for something, you would cast lots, if you were. Like in the scriptures, when you hear cast lots, we would equate that to voting. So what you would do is you would make a decision on a matter. You have a white stone and a black stone, and you would take the stone, and whatever your vote was, you would put it in the jar. Okay? Then when all the decisions and votes were taken, the jar was emptied, and then you would count them. So when it says in the book of Revelation, count the number of the beast, the word in Greek in count there has to do with counting stones. Okay? And counting stones has to do with voting. Now, the mark of the beast is something that the people take by worshiping the beast. Okay? Now, there's going to be a Babylon system of buying and selling, of course. Okay? Well, all these contributing factors are leading to it, including voting for the Antichrist. So you can see we have a coin there. Donald Trump is the Antichrist. Okay? We've proven that without a shadow of doubt. Donald Trump's the Antichrist. We're in the tribulation. Okay? Now, if you vote for the Antichrist, you could be taking the mark of the beast. Now, in Esther, we have a perfect match, book of Esther, with the book of Revelation. Esther is crowned. After Esther is crowned, then Haman is placed in authority. So that's the revealing of the Antichrist. We showed you through the book of Esther the precise date the Antichrist will be revealed. Okay? It's a precise date. Now, how do we know that? We know that because in the book of Esther, chapter 3, the Antichrist is revealed. Okay? And we know at the end of the book, there are 10 kings. Okay? Haman has 10 sons. Those 10 sons are 10 kings. They're executed on Purim. Okay, now Purim means lots. You see lots? Okay, so lots is voting. Purim. Now, we know that the beast receives his power 42 months. That's 3.5 years. So if you know the timing of the book of Esther, you can clearly see the 10 kings are executed. The beast is executed in Purim, the 12th year. So if you subtract from that time, 42 months, you come to a precise date. That was August 2019. I'm going to show you the precise day when the Antichrist begins his reign of 42 months, or a times in dividing it. That would bring us to the 6th month and 14th day. That would be the year 2019. Okay? 2019 would be August 24th, 2019. That's the date the Antichrist would begin his reign and his power. Okay? And then it would go 42 months.
I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
So, before the elections took place, we announced when the Antichrist would be revealed. Donald Trump revealed himself as the Antichrist on the 21st of August by announcing himself the chosen one. Many of you have pointed out this thing on his right hand. It looks like an eye, very strange. But some of you said, oh no, Donald Trump didn't call himself God. Yes, he did. This is his Twitter page. This is the same day. The same day he said, I'm the chosen one. This is a Twitter page. On it, it says, the King of Israel, the second coming of God. Look closer. The King of Israel, the second coming of God. Donald Trump's official Twitter page, declaring himself God. So we blew the trumpet. Okay, that was 3.5 years ago. We blew the trumpet. The beast, Donald Trump, the Antichrist, we understood the precise date by the book of Esther. So guys, the book of Esther, we have lots of videos on this, but what happened is Esther's crown. After Esther's crown, the beast is revealed. That's Haman. Okay, his name is Haman. And Haman is advanced in his seat. Okay, you got to understand the seat of the beast. So it's talking about the beast gets his seat in Revelation, 42 months. Okay, so that began when Donald Trump did that. Okay, so once he gets his seat, he gets his authority, okay, the beast, the people begin to bow and reverence Haman. This is Esther chapter 3. Now, they bow and reverence Haman. So this is the people worshiping the beast. All right, and then what happens is they cast pur. Remember, later in Esther, pur is Purim, but pur means lots. So you see the lots, the white stone and the black stone. Okay, that is the lot before Haman day into day. So what they're doing is they're voting. Okay, so what happens is they first are deceived by the beast. Okay, and the Christians are deceived by the beast. They're by Donald Trump. We have no choice. Okay, we have to vote for Donald Trump. We have to vote for the Antichrist because our other choice is not a good choice. Hillary Clinton is a witch, so we don't want to vote for Hillary Clinton. We don't want to cast our lot for the witch, so we'll cast our lot for the Antichrist. Now, Donald Trump wasn't revealed as the beast yet, but he's being set up, and the people are being set up again. That's why I'm doing this video. So now you're going to also have another terrible choice, and you say, oh, this is a terrible choice. Can't vote Democrat. I got to vote for the Antichrist. Well, you can see that's exactly what happened. Haman is revealed as the beast. The people bow and worship and reverence him. When they bow and worship and reverence him, the expression of their worship is voting. Can you see that? Lots. They cast lots. They cast a choice for Haman. Haman is now the beast. He is the Antichrist. Okay. He's been revealed, and now it's Donald Trump. You see the coin from the Sanhedrin. Cyrus. Okay, that's Donald Trump. Now what's going to happen? We're going into elections. Look, he's going to win. Okay. Why is he going to win? Because the people are deceived. Now, the people are so deceived that the apostate church is supporting him. He's made deals with the Christian leaders. And they say, okay, give us, these policies. Okay. He said, okay, I'll do those policies. And they, in turn, have to encourage the people to vote for the Antichrist. So that's what they're doing. They're all in on it. Okay, that's how dreadful this stuff is. So now we're going into another election cycle, another casting lots, just like it says in the book of Esther. Okay, so that's what Purim means: casting lots, voting, deciding. Okay, now the mark of the beast is not just a chip; it's worship. Okay, so basically, what is in your heart is what you worship. You bow in reverence. Now, many of you say, oh, Donald Trump's not the Antichrist because, the people don't love him. Well, guys, you can still worship something by being obsessed about it. And even the left side is obsessed with Donald Trump. Okay? So that's excessive adoration. Okay? Even if you hate something excessively, it's worship. It's giving reference. And that's what it says in the book of Revelation. It says they stand awe in the beast. Okay, they stand awe. So even his enemies stand awe. It doesn't have to be for or against. Okay, so Donald Trump is now been revealed as the Antichrist. Okay, and guys, I'm warning you that if you vote for Donald Trump, you're already expressing who's in your heart. Okay, and that's the false. That's the Antichrist. Okay. And so you make a decision. Now we're in the valley of decision, okay? Many of you are waking up to the things I'm saying. Wow, Leland, this is what you're saying is right. This coronavirus, all this is going down. I'm like, yeah, I've been saying this, okay? Now, I'm giving you the details of the prophecy that you don't know about. Read the book of Esther. You'll see these things. So now, the people expressed their reverence by voting. Okay, the same thing is going to happen. I've even done this videos, Donald Trump the Antichrist. People still say, okay, we're still going to vote for him. And I'm just like, look, all I can do is warn. Your decision up to you. Okay? Now, some of you say, well, the mark of the beast is a decision. Yes, it's voting. Okay, voting is worship. They reverenced him. Now, you can also see I got the kithara. So this is a guitar. So the other thing about the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, they have music. Okay? And that music is the people bowed. So you have to understand all these concepts of what happened. So the Jews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were cast in the furnace. They refused to bow. And you can also see in Esther, you can see Mordecai. He sat in the king's gate. He began to identify what's going on. And he refused to bow. Okay? So when you refuse to bow, guys, the beast is going to come after you. Donald Trump is not your friend. Okay? And you can see then, Haman is furious with Mordecai. When the music plays and Daniel doesn't bow, okay, and the four boys, they don't bow and they don't submit to the beast, okay. Now Daniel was with Darius in chapter 5, I think, or 6, and he refused. He's thrown in the lion's den, right? Well, the Hebrew boys, they refused to bow. They were thrown in the furnace, okay. So now we're in this time, this valley of decision, okay, and voting. Guys, just like I told you, don't take the vaccine, all right? That's the mark of the beast. Voting for the Antichrist is also leading to the mark of the beast because it's showing proof of what's in your heart. What's in your heart is your love for Babylon. America is Mystery Babylon. You love money. You love the system. You love the false Christ that the false church has expressed, false prosperity, and you voted the Antichrist into power. And many of you will do it again. Now, it's not too late. I'm not saying that when you vote, you're taking the mark of the beast, but you're leading into that direction. So then, when Donald Trump tells you what to do, you're going to do it. He's going to tell you, okay, take the vaccine. Okay? Now you want to, he's going to control everything. That's a whole system, what you see going on. Quarantine, control, okay? So he voted... the Christians voted the Antichrist, guys. I want you to really think about that. Christians voted the Antichrist into power. And that's exactly what it says, that they were deceived. Guys, it says the beast deceived the people into taking the mark, okay? They were deceived. And this is what it said, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Let's read it. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, it talks about the man of sin, right? And the man of sin, that wicked be revealed, and whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of the coming, whose coming is after the working of Satan, all right? With power and signs and lying wonders, with all deceivableness and unrighteousness. So the people are deceived into taking the mark. To them which perish because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Guys, salvation is determined by what's going on. Okay, you can attack me, you can do whatever you want. Leland, you're a false prophet. How could I tell you this 3.5 years ago and it happened? Okay? It's because of the understanding of the Scripture. All right? For this cause God shall send them a strong delusion that they shall believe a lie. This is the strong delusion. It's Donald Trump. And it's voting. Now, how do you overcome? Now, you can see that there's two stones there. There's a black one and a white one. Now, the voting stone is really important for you to understand. To he who overcomes, Christ said, to he who overcomes, I'll give a white stone. That word, and you see that white stone right there, that word in the Greek for white stone is a voting stone. It's not just a random stone. It's I forget how to pronounce it, but I have another video on the white stone. So what happens is Christ is showing his expression of voting. Who is he going to put in the jar? So he said, to he overcomes, I'll write a name, a new name on the white stone, and he will vote. He will cast that stone and vote for that person till he overcomes the beast, okay? But he also warns the church at Smyrna and Sardis, look, if you don't overcome, you're going into the lake of fire, okay? If you don't overcome, I will blot out your name, okay, from the book of life. How can this happen? Christ died for us. How can the people are deceived by the Antichrist? Okay? But keep in mind, Christ gives this white stone. He cast this stone to the overcomer with the new name. So with the writing on the stone, the voting stone, it thus becomes a seal. So there you can see the seal of the prophet Isaiah. And the prophet Isaiah had a seal impression where he would seal a document. Okay, that's actually his seal belonging to Isaiah the prophet. And the stone, there you can see the white stone, has a name on it. Okay, now this relates to the seal, the authorization, the sealed ones, the 144,000. So the prophet Isaiah, that is his seal impression. So he is also, receiving this stone. So the 144,000 we can find in Isaiah chapter 57. Isaiah chapter 57, verses 6, 7, 8, and 9 describe the 144,000. Okay, so Esther, she had preparation for the king, 6 months of myrrh, 6 months of sweet odors, where you can see them, verse 9, and you went to the king with ointment and did increase your perfumes. Okay, so that's Isaiah 57, verse 9. So that's talking about the 144,000. Okay, now the voting stone, the lot, is found in verse 6. Among the smooth stones of the stream is your portion. They are your lot. So again, this is the voting stone for the overcomers that Christ had talked about. Okay? Now, I'm going to declare to you some mysteries. We told you before about the seven-sided stone. There was one stone, and on one stone has 7 eyes. Those are 7 colors. Okay, that relates to the engraving stone. Okay, why? Because he said, I'll give you a voting stone. I'll give you a new stone. And on that stone, there was an engraving. There was an inscription. Well, we see that in Zechariah chapter 3. They said on one, there would be a engraving on the stone, an inscription. Okay, these are multifaceted mysteries and deep things. But we showed this to you many years ago. Okay, so we knew that this pattern of 7 sides was the white stone, okay, that Christ is talking about. Now, with this white stone, okay, with this concept of voting, with this book of Esther story, how is it that we know the time? Okay, so you say, all right, Leland, well, with all that, how do we actually know that the years that it's talking about in the book of Esther, how do they apply in our day? The menorah has 7 lamps, and then it has something called almond blossoms. And those almond blossoms we have shown you, described here, are eclipses. So they're eclipses that happen in an order, in a precise sequence. And they start with 4 lunar tetrad. Now, lunar tetrad, 4 blood moons, is a very, very rare occurrence. In the last 2,000 years, I believe it was 33 AD, 163 AD, 1492, 1949, 1967, 2014. So I believe in the whole 2,000 years, those are the only times lunar tetrad have taken place. So they're very significant, okay? And not only that, they happen in a sequence, okay? Now that sequence, we're showing you confirmation of in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12. So when Moses gets the instruction for the menorah, each one of those markers is an almond blossom. And it was to have certain things. Knobs, it says. Those are like capitals, like a capital on a pillar. Bowls, almonds, okay? And these characteristics that Moses describes, we find in Ecclesiastes chapter 12. We want to run over this real quick because we get more and more confirmation on these interpretations. So verse 2 says, when the sun or the light, remember the menorah has the light, okay? But what it's talking about here, let me just tell you what it's talking about, verse 2. It's talking about the sun, moon, and stars, okay? And them being darkened. And the darkening of the sun, moon, and stars relates to eclipses. So the phenomenon of the eclipse is when one passes by another, or it creates something like a blood moon, where these conjunctions take place, okay, and it forms an eclipse. It can be a partial or full eclipse. While the sun, the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, okay, this is eclipses. Now, then we have other descriptions of the menorah that we find right here in Ecclesiastes 12. So what happened with the menorah? The priest had to light the lamps, right? Well, we find the priest in verse 3. In that day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. So now we got the light, we got the priests. Now the knobs, there was the knobs were also called lintels on the door. Okay, so when there was a capital, that was actually by a door. And then in verse 4, we got the doors shall be shut. Okay, number 3. Verse 5, you have the almond tree shall flourish. Okay, then in verse 6, the golden bowl be broken. So we have all these 5 characteristics of the menorah in Exodus chapter 25, right here in Ecclesiastes chapter 12. But not only do we have them all, in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, it shows us the proof that these are eclipses, okay? So that's why those eclipses give us the time, okay? So that gives us another witness. This is just another witness, okay? The time of Esther. Okay, now, we're gonna also show you the 7-sided stone and how the 7-sided stone shows us 7 years and 7 years. Okay, we're going to break that down a little bit before. But I just want to cover one common question about the Antichrist, and that is, the Antichrist has to come from here or there. The Antichrist comes from the United States. Okay, the Antichrist comes from a U.S. president. Okay, how can you prove that, Leland? Well, we can prove that perfectly by Revelation chapter 17, verse 10. It says, 5 are fallen, 1 is. There's another that must continue a short space. Okay, so right there you got 7. See that? And then it says, the 8th goes into perdition. All right, so there you got it. You got 5 are fallen, 1 is, another continues a short space, number 7, and then you have the 8th that must go into perdition. All right, when you go to Daniel chapter 8, in Daniel chapter 8, you have a goat. You also have a ram. Okay. Now, the goat is really important. Okay. Actually, before I get to U.S. president, I got to talk about the goat. So, in the lots, okay, you see how there's 2 lots there. On the Day of Atonement, the high priest had a service he would do, and he would take 2 goats. One goat had a mark, which is a seal, which is a lot, okay, which was Azazel, okay. So one goat had Azazel, and he was sent into the wilderness. That's the mark of the beast. That's a type of the mark of the beast, okay. He's sent with Azazel, okay. Azazel is a fallen angel in the book of Enoch that is described, okay. So he goes into a lake of fire. He goes into the wilderness, okay. And then you have another lot, okay. So that's the mark of the beast, but now you got another lot, which is the seal. And then there's another goat which receives a seal, and that goat is sacrificed, okay, on the Day of Atonement. So that's us. We must give ourselves as a living sacrifice, okay? If you love your life, that's how the beast's going to take advantage of you, because you're selfish, okay? You're selfish. You're not giving. You don't love God, okay? You're selfish. You hang on to your own life. You hang on to your stuff, okay? You're not willing to sacrifice yourself. You're not willing to love God with all your heart, okay? So those get the mark of the beast, okay? But those that don't love their life, that love God so much of what he did to forgive them for their sins, are willing to sacrifice themselves, or it says Romans 12, give yourself a living sacrifice, okay? So they get the lot, they get the seal, okay? Now, it's important that you understand that Azazel is the mark of the beast, okay? Now, we go back to Daniel chapter 8. In Daniel chapter 8, the goat is described as a satanic, demonic goat, like Azazel. We saw before, we had Azazel. Well, now you've got this satire goat. The angel Gabriel tells Daniel this is a satire goat, okay? It comes from the west, from the face of the whole earth. Okay? It's described as Yavan in the Hebrew, which is Greece in many interpretations. But basically what that means, it's coming from the west, it's coming from the European nations. Okay? So it's coming from the European nations. But let's remember what we said before. There's 5 that fallen, there's 1 that is, the other continues a short space, and then you got to 8. Well, Daniel chapter 8 gives us this succession of U.S. presidents. It starts with Ronald Reagan. He's the great king. Okay, he's the great king. And then it says, out of him comes 4 notable ones. Now, how do we know the timing of this? Well, Daniel says from the 4 winds of heaven, it talks about the little horn at the 4 winds of heaven. Well, that's the time of the releasing of the seals. So you got the releasing of seals. This is just not any other time 100 years ago. No, this is the time of the release of the seals. The Lamb opened the seal. It's during this time period you got the little horn. Understand? So you got the great horn. You got 4 notable ones. Out of them proceeds a little horn. So the one, it says from them. Okay, so from them you got 5. Okay, 5 that are fallen. Now 1 becomes a little horn. Well, that's Obama. Okay, you got Reagan. You got Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. Okay, so now Obama was one of the 4 notable ones, and then from him comes a little horn. So Obama's the little horn of Daniel chapter 8. Trump is the little horn of Daniel chapter 7. All right, so from him becomes the little horn. So that's Obama. So that's a succession of U.S. presidents from Greece. Okay, now all those U.S. presidents go to war. Daniel chapter 8 says the goat goes to war against the ram. The ram is Medo-Persia, Medo is the Middle East. So all those presidents went to war in the Middle East. Okay, all of them. So they all fulfilled that prophecy perfectly. So that's how the Antichrist is going to be from them. So what you have is you have the great one. You have 4 notable ones. Then you have the little horn. So that's 6. That's only 6. Okay. Then it says another, the 7th must continue a short space. Well, that's the next one because the 7th comes from the U.S. president. So that's how the U.S. president has got to be the Antichrist. So then the 7th goes into perdition, okay, becomes the Antichrist. So that's a common question. Yes, okay. The United States is Mystery Babylon because they are the goat. They are the satanic goat, okay, that Gabriel talked about. And that's Azazel. They have the lot of Azazel. So now, let's look at the 7-sided stone. Let's look at the chart to show you the proof of how we came about knowing when the Antichrist would be revealed. Okay, there are 7-sided stone. Here it is. It's actually 2 of them. So it tells us about 7 years and 7 years. Obviously, the book of Esther goes longer than 3.5 years, goes longer than 7 years because it says in the 12th year. Okay, so that proves that the revealing, the apocalypse, is 14 years. Okay. Now, before we showed you the menorah. Okay, the menorah has eclipses. And the first 4 is when the Lamb opens the seal. These are the 4 lunar tetrad, the blood moons, okay? Now, we can find those here. So, in the book of Esther, it agrees with this perfectly, guys, if you understand the story. I know you guys don't know this, so I'm showing you the same thing over and over. So, the king sits upon the throne. This is all about the king, all right? It's about him, not you. He sits on the throne. Then after 3 years, year 1, year 2, year 3, he holds a feast. That feast, you can see right here, 180-day feast. So that's 6 months. That's 3.5 years. 1, 2, 3 and a half. After 3.5 years, he invites Vashti to the feast. Vashti is institutional Christianity. It's all of it, guys. It's all of them. It doesn't matter what denomination, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're all on our own here. None of these people are going to help you. Okay, I'm sorry. None of them can help you. You're on your own to try and find the truth. So they are all Vashti. All that is institutional Christianity. Institutional Christianity is going to tell you to take the mark of the beast, even vote for the Antichrist, all right? But we're telling you that's Vashti. Vashti is divorced. We got to divorce Mystery Babylon. We got to divorce all those false Mystery Babylon teaching, all right? So then what happens when Vashti is divorced, the king is angry. That opens the seals, okay? Can you see we got our sword here? Now you can see our blood moons. Okay, this is Passover in 2014. This is Tabernacles 2014, Passover 2015, Tabernacles 2015. So those are the 4 blood moons. That continues, okay, until Esther's prepared. There's primary solar eclipses that mark Esther's preparation. That already happened, guys. And that concluded when Esther completes her preparation. It says clear in the book of Esther, that's year 7. Okay, so that's year 7, and Esther is crowned. So you got the crowning of the woman clothed with the sun. That's in Revelation chapter 12. That happened, guys. And when that happened, it said the woman was clothed with the sun, and then she goes into the wilderness 3.5 years. So after this point, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. It ends, and then it picks up over here. And then over here, she wanders in the wilderness, okay, 1,260 days. That's 3.5 years, okay? And then she's given 2 wings of an eagle for another 3.5 years. So that's 7 years. So after the sign of the woman clothed with the sun, you clearly have 7 years right afterwards, okay? Now, in the book of Esther, it says that the 10 kings, the Haman's 10 sons, are killed at Purim. So that's, Purim is at the end of the 12th year. So this is how we were able to tell you precisely when the Antichrist was going to be revealed, because if we just take that marker and take that time, we go back to Purim, which is, of course, in the future, that's in the year 2022, and we go to the year 2022, Purim, and then we just backtrack 3.5 years, okay? And so we just turn this around, we go back, okay? And this is going to show us when the Antichrist is revealed. So that's what we told you. We told you that back before the election, okay? So the Antichrist begins his reign. Now, how do we know that? Because he has 42 months, okay? So if we know the time the beast is killed, 42 months, we just backtrack those 42 months to see when it begins. You see? So that's just opposite. So wherever Purim is over here, you just go opposite over here. That's 3.5 years. Okay? So that's why August 2019, you can see, August 2019, you see 2019 right there. And Antichrist reign starts. Okay? So that's how we knew this, guys. We knew this years ago. You can see I'm staying in a cabin in the woods, in the mountains. I was in a cabin in the woods in the mountains in Purim back, what was it, 4 years ago or something? Yeah. So, guys, this is right. Okay, I don't care what you say. Now, some of you might say, well, Leland, we're not seeing everything here like totally fulfilled. Like we're not seeing Wormwood. We didn't see a third of the sun, moon, and stars. We didn't see the great mountain fall. We're not seeing all the trumpets the way it says. Well, we are seeing a lot of the trumpets. The first one is hail and fire. We saw that in California, Australia. So that one is happening. But what the scriptures say, it says, don't let the winds blow until we seal the servants of God in their forehead. So there's a withholding of some of these judgments taking place, right? It says, so we haven't actually seen all of them most likely in their perfect description. Many of them may still come, but we are seeing many. So if this coronavirus is something related to this, which we believe it is, okay, we also have the revealing of the Antichrist. We have all these things happening. But then it's going to get worse, because once the Son of Man comes in the clouds, that's the day and the hour no man knows. So all of this is a schedule, all right? But it says, don't let the winds blow until we seal the servants of God on the forehead. Those are the elect, okay? And that's when the Son of Man appears in the clouds. So no one knows that. So because of that, the trumpets are being held back. Don't let the winds blow. So that's why some of what's going on is not precisely the way we're seeing it in the book of Revelation. Or if it is, it's not in a way that's, obvious to everybody in the whole world, like coronavirus is. So anyway, we can see in the book of Esther, you got 12 years, okay? Esther's brought to the king in the 7th year. We can see the menorah shows us the precise timing of when the 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls are, okay? So guys, Donald Trump is the Antichrist, and he is forcing everyone to vote, to decide. What are you going to do? All right? Are we going to take the mark of the beast, okay, or we're going to take the seal. It's a voting stone, okay? And the beast is marked. So you vote, make your decision, okay? Okay, what are you going to do? It's a valley of decision we're in, and you make your decision and you vote. Now, if you vote for Donald Trump, you know, you're in serious trouble. We're not saying that is the mark of the beast, but you're heading in that direction because now you're going to do what he says. Everything is going to force you into things to take the vaccine. So guys, don't take the vaccine. Don't vote for Donald Trump. He's the Antichrist. This is part of our playlist. Donald Trump is the Antichrist. All these timetables, this stuff we've been talking about for years, okay? So we've been warning the people. We've been blowing the trumpet. Guys, thanks for watching, and watch and pray you. Be accounted worthy. Escape all these things. In Alpha and Omega's name, amen.